On the whole, we know what we have in most of these boxes. They're the 10-inch type drawings which were used to actually manufacture the type. But we also have a set of boxes which are just labeled the designer's original artwork. And we have a list of what may be in those boxes, but it's a bit murky. What I'm curious about is a note of what's in designer's original box number 3, which says that there are some original Stelzer drawings which refer to a guy named Fritz Stelzer who managed the drawing office for the first couple of decades of the 20th century. So in here we have a few different other typefaces that I'm curious about, as well as what I hope are some in the hand of this mysterious figure who set up a lot of the activity here at Monotype. Yes, these seem to be letters drawn by hand in pencil, unsigned, so I'm assuming that these are more of the work of Fritz himself, who would have been the person who kept an eye on how the typefaces came together as the individual drawing artist drew the individual letters one by one. So he had the sense of the typographer that kept all of the drawings together as they were built up into typefaces. I come across drawings of typefaces I've never heard of all the time. Not just because we have a very big library and I'm not familiar with every typeface, but we have a lot of material for typefaces that were taken out of production decades ago so that they don't exist as fonts today. And particularly in the boxes of original drawings, we have drawings for typefaces that were never released. So we have quite a lot in the archive that the public has never seen, if not for decades, perhaps ever. So let's see what's in the Mercurius envelope. So Mercurius, we have some actual original drawings. Let's see what we know about this. So, Mercurius bold script. That's actually a great typeface. It's very, very rough. The strokes have a real sort of a mixture of straight lines and curves that give it a lot of dynamic energy. You can see on here that the drawings were generally made with black India ink with a lot of white paint going around the edges to do cleanup. We see this a lot in the old drawings, in the Eric Gill drawings and lots of the other original material. This is generally what the process was of doing these concept drawings for the typefaces. The designer or the artist who was doing these had an idea of the shape, but they were doing it by hand, and they would make adjustments by eye as they thought it necessary as they went along. Actually, you may want to consider one of these for another tattoo. So these Mercurius drawings appear to be from 1957, and it had been produced as series 584 and 36 points. This would be a hot metal proof, so it was certainly made as type at some point. I do need to take a good look and see if we have a version of it available these days, because if we do, I think I want to use it for something. Well, now that we can see from the proof that was in here that Mercurius was made into type, let's actually pull the box of the 10-inch drawings and see what the final version of this looked like, which would have been pretty different from the originals. There are a lot of indications on this piece of paper that were specific to how type was made for when it was cast in lead, but a lot of the things relate to the way typefaces are made today. Even if you're drawing a font on screen, you still have to decide what the width is going to be on either side of the letter shape itself. There's also a little mark here that indicates kerning, which in metal type meant that another piece of type could overlap this piece of metal ever so slightly. Whereas with a digital font, it would mean that the letters can overlap in the digital space ever so slightly. But the name actually comes from a bit of material like this, which would be cut out from the piece of type. That's what a kern was.